Hey guys, it's Brandon, your GTA Home Guy. Today we're going to talk about repos and why they may not be the savings that you expected. So stay tuned, it's going to be packed with a lot of information, and if you stay to the very end, there's going to be a lot of considerations that you might want to give if you are in fact considering a repo, foreclosure, power of sale in Ontario. Let's go. Alright everyone, you need to understand that if you're buying something that's a repossessed home in Ontario, there are certain things that are a little bit different than what you might have seen in the media, and I'll highlight those really quickly here. But basically, when it's a power of sale in Ontario, that's the most common. Foreclosure is not. Foreclosure is when the bank or whoever took it back has the ability to sell it for whatever they want. They could sell it for $1 if they wanted to. However, the most common form of repossessed home in Ontario is called a power of sale. A power of sale means that the owner of the property is still in control of that ultimately. They have a few other rights afforded to them, we'll get to that later, but the biggest thing is that the bank has the onus to make absolutely certain that the best dollar is gained because there's legal liability. If they sell it so quick and it's just a fire sale, then they're liable and they could be sued. So the banks aren't going to do that, and that's why repos may not be the best value for you, but we'll get into the points right now. Point number one, there's no recourse on the banks, and that could be a very costly mistake. If you're buying a home, usually if there's something that's not disclosed, let's say the basement leaks and the seller hid that from you, you could then sue the seller later if you found out that, hey, they had to have known about this because they did this renovation just to cover this up, and now it's not coming out of your pocket. Whereas if it's a repossessed home, they don't have any onus on them. They've never occupied the property. They're not supposed to disclose it. They're going to make you sign something that says, hey, you take it as of the day of closing, however it is. So just know for certain that that is one big risk that you're taking if you're buying a repossessed home. Another big point is, what if things have been winterized? A lot of repossessed homes will have everything winterized, so the water is shut off and drained and there's no way to really test it. Sometimes the power is even shut off because there's liability. They don't want anything going way out of whack while nobody's in the house, and that could be a big concern. Not being able to check some of the vital working systems of the home could leave you liable to fix something that you just assume should be working. Wouldn't it suck? You move into your new place, you get the water turned on and pipes were burst before they got shut off, or, you know, who knows? There's squirrels in the drains. I don't know. Where do squirrels go? Where are all the squirrels? And the biggest thing that I really dislike, I mentioned it a little bit earlier, is the fact that you have no recourse, but you actually have to sign off on so many of your rights. In the contract, they're going to have a schedule that they need to attach, just basically indemnifying them from any issues that you might face in this home. Anything. There's squirrels in the attic, witches inhabit the basement. I don't know, man. There's so much that could go wrong, and you're just throwing all of your recourse aside. So even if you have a home inspection, it's good, but they may not be able to tell you again because if things are winterized, right? So it's going to say that you have no recourse, that there's a lot of things that could go wrong, but it's still not their business or concern. That is a big bunch of rights that you're just throwing away. And you have to ask yourself, is that something that you're willing to throw away, your rights there? Are you confident that you will have the ability to take care of literally anything that could go wrong after closing or up to closing? And that's why repos do not equal savings necessarily. They can have a strong benefit financially, but there's a lot on the back end that you do have to consider and weigh. Thanks guys for staying tuned this long. I want you to stop the video and subscribe. If you could, it'd be doing me a big favor. That way I know that you like the content and I can keep providing a lot more, okay? If you have any suggestions, leave them in the comments. If there's something that you thought, wow, I didn't know that, let me know, because I love helping people realize things, and that's super encouraging to me, all right? Now, let's get on with that bonus I was talking about. A consideration that a lot of people don't realize is that a power of sale, there is something called the right to redeem, and that's where the previous owner could theoretically pay up the mortgage to redeem themselves and be still the owner of the house. And they have that right up until closing. So a big problem, if they won the lottery, let's say, is that they could buy that house back and you wouldn't get it like you planned. Now, it's not something that is very common because once they've lost the home, they've gone through quite a process to get to that stage. So I wouldn't really worry about it, but it's just something that you should know. You also have to take the property as of the date of closing and its condition there. Usually when you make an offer, it is so that, hey, it's got to be the way that it was as of the day I made the offer when we transfer the property into my hands, but not with a power of sale. A power of sale is going to make it so that it is as of the day of closing, no liability to the bank, and that's it. You're just accepting it as of the day of closing. So pray for no rain. The onus is also on the buyer to verify that there are no liens on the property, and that is going to be your lawyer's job, but making sure that nobody has any liens on the property, there's nothing that's outstanding work orders, those sorts of things, the bank doesn't care about. They're saying you're taking the property completely as is. Have I said that before? As is. As is, as is, as is, as is! Everything is as is with the bank. Just assume you've got zero way to go back on anyone, because that's in fact what you have. Zero. A lot of times people will think, hey, I can negotiate because we did a home inspection and there was a bunch of things wrong. Not so if you're getting a repo, because they don't care. Usually they're just looking at the bottom line, trying to push you higher, and that's it. There's no negotiating, as much as there would be if it was an actual cognizant human being who actually gave a damn. Most lawyers that work for the banks are going to shred the contract, and I'm talking every ounce of the contract. You'll see scratches in places that you didn't even know existed. Shh. Seriously, lawyers looking at these contracts are just sitting up in a big office trying to justify their wage. Sorry, lawyers. But it's true. They're scratching out a bunch of standard clauses for no good reason. They claim that it's because they don't want the bank liable and all that, but whatever. It's just a process you go through. So even if you sign in a very good straight cash offer, no conditions, exactly what they told you they wanted on the schedules, you signed everything perfect, it's probably coming back to you and you're probably going to have to initial a bunch of places. And it's sort of like if you're working with a developer, you just got no say in it. It's take it or leave it. And the last point I'm going to make is that animals could be present when you take possession of the home. That's funny for everybody else when you tell the story later, but it's not for you. I understand that. Nothing worse than getting to a home and there's no power and you're trying to show it and you hear a heavy animal scurry across the floor and they still want to look through it. Good times, good times. So guys, that's it for right now. If you have any questions, always reach out on any social at GTAHomeGuy, and I'll talk to you then.
Reach out in any social at GTAHomeGuy. I did that.